I haven't filmed anything since August, so it's been about 2 months since I've filmed anything, and I've decided to attempt to film 2 videos in a row today. I thought about combining them into one and doing one hybrid video, but I know my knitting content isn't very appealing to the people who watch my reading content and vice versa. So I'll just make 2 videos. So my hair looks the same and makeup looks the same. Maybe my outfit will be the same. Maybe I'll do a costume change in the middle of me filming. We'll see where this goes. I'll definitely do a location change. And speaking of locations, you might be wondering, what is she doing? Why isn't she in her beautiful knitting studio that she, created? Is it 2 years ago? 2 or 3 years? A year or two ago. I don't remember. Time. What is time? Anyway, so the current state of my knitting room right now is that you can't move in it. Like there's zero access to anything. We are currently in the middle of doing some home renovations. And the home renovations that's happening right now are happening in our master bedroom, which is on technically our 3rd level of our home. We live in a townhouse. It's, the setup is very interesting. So everything that was in the bedroom has now been moved elsewhere on the 2nd floor or the 3rd floor, I should say. So our guest bedroom, which is where I used to originally film my knitting podcast videos, now that is completely taken up by our king-size bed because the builders of these homes, if you're familiar with Delaware Homes, Ryan Homes, their secondary bedrooms are very, very small. I'm horrible at determining the depth and width of things. I think it's they're like 10 by 12 feet. Like they're very small rooms. So our king size bed basically takes up all of it, aside from a little spot for Blue's bed, which she only uses half the time. A bookcase that was already in there, or bookshelf, I should say, and then my husband's dresser. My knitting room, on the other hand, is filled with everything else. Furniture, my clothes. My clothes are spilling out of the knitting room into the bathroom, the guest bathroom. It's very chaotic. We took the double bed out of the guest room and put it in the knitting room because with 2 dogs and 2 people in a double bed, it just wasn't going to work. So instead of, putting the king size bed elsewhere, we're like, well, we'll just sleep in the king size bed and we'll be at least a little bit more comfortable. We won't have much room to move around, but we'll be comfortable sleeping at least. Anyway, so yes, both my bookshelf. I feel like I can't tell if I'm too close or too far away. I guess I'll find out afterwards. Both my bookshelf and my knitting cubbies, and like all my knitting supplies are barely accessible. Just barely. Only for like the necessities. Like all of my yarn that hasn't been caked up yet, I don't have access to. Like a whole third of my cubbies I can't get to. Like only the top shelf of my bookshelf I can access. Like it's a mess. Maybe I'll share a picture, probably not, because it's embarrassing how upsetting it is up there. Very chaotic, and the chaos just represents where our life is right now. And there's Blue, May sitting right there. Blue has made her appearance. All your Blue watchers out there, I know you're always keeping an eye out for her. She's gonna jump up here eventually, because I'm sitting in her normal spot. Nope, there we go. Yep. She's very upset that I've taken her spot. Um, so yeah, back to the chaos. Here. Don't step on my MacBook. It's too expensive for you to do that. Are you gonna get comfy? Okay. All right. Back to the chaos. I felt I've been thinking about making a video about this for a while, kind of like prefacing like what I have or have not been working on as of late. This year is like this year has been the year that my knitting content has kind of really gone to the wayside, and it's not on purpose. It's just been where I've been in life right now. I kind of alluded in my last knitting video about how life has just been so crazy, and like I won't go into very many details about it, but like um, I'm not saying the pandemic is over, because we know it isn't. But 2022 has really been the year that everything has been going back to normal, which I put in really big quotations, because like I don't, I know that's not the case everywhere, but at least here in Delaware, things are getting back to normal. Again, big quotations. So because things are getting back to normal, the free time that I used to have to knit is not there anymore. It's just being honest. And because I haven't had time to knit, I've been filling my time with other things like reading, which I've really picked up over the past few months, this year especially. And I've, like sharing what I've been reading. But even as of late, my reading has gone down a lot, and instead has been replaced with, spending quality time with our friends and family, especially at our church. As many of you know, I am a Christian. My husband's a Christian. We are members at our church. And we give a lot of time to our church because it's our community, it's our family. And my husband, Phil, was recently ordained as an elder in our denomination, which is Reformed Presbyterian, and or the PCA, if I'm going to be, specific, Presbyterian Church of America. So with him being ordained as an elder, we were already highly involved in our church, but him, becoming ordained as an elder took it a step further, So now, instead of just being like my husband say, like the average church member in our church, instead of us being like the average church member, a little slightly elevated is the wrong word to use, but like a little bit more in the know, because we were or are youth group leaders in our church. So we were kind of leaders, but not ordained leader, or my husband, but we're a unit. So with him becoming an elder, the curtain is pulled back a little bit more in terms of people's personal lives, in terms of administrative things, financial things, like it's a lot all at once. So a lot of processing, a lot of me really stepping out of my comfort zone and stepping up, trying to be a more, instead of being like an overall active member, like I'm trying to, focus more on being a better friend to, my friends at the church, whether it be like a couple of my best friends, or getting to know other women, especially in the church, who I might not have, over the years, especially the past 2 years, I might not have been as close friends with, but now we're thrown into these other circumstances where we're around each other all the time. We're getting to know each other, life happens. So instead of coming home, sitting on my, my new couch, by the way, this is a new couch, instead of sitting on my couch, turning on Netflix and knitting away, it's been coming home, feeding the dogs, going back out because we're doing things with church, or we're getting together with friends, or, whatever. That's just where we are in life right now. And that's just where we are right now. there's that. There's also been, as I alluded in my previous video, there's been some major life changes for Phil and I. This isn't an announcement or anything. These are things that I've already mentioned. I started a new job in my field, which at the beginning of the year was a little bit slow. And now, I work in a library. I work at a college library. I'm not going to say where. Some of you might already know because you know me personally. But I work at a college library, and this was the first semester, this fall semester, the first semester in 2 years that the school has been back again. The big quotations, back to normal. There's barely any hybrid classes. Everyone is back on campus, and it's a lot of people, and not only a lot of freshmen. Just in general, apparently this is the biggest influx of freshmen that this school has had in a very long time. Not only is it a lot of freshmen, but it's a lot of sophomores who are coming onto the campus for the first time because last year was all hybrid or online classes. So it's a lot of people and answering a lot of questions, and it's been a lot. There's barely any downtime. There hasn't been, basically, from August through September, and we're now in the beginning of October. So any free time I had was spent reading, because it's a little bit more socially acceptable to read out in public at a library as opposed to knitting. I'm not quite at that point yet. Of bringing my knitting out in public like I do during lunchtime, but not really. Not like it was at my previous job where I had so much downtime that I could just take out my knitting and no one really cared. But it's a little bit different right now, so which is why I haven't been knitting nearly as often. But all this to say, and then my focuses have just changed. My priorities have changed. We're throwing a lot. We didn't go on a vacation this year, so we're throwing a lot of our money and time and efforts into our home. We did some home renovations on our first floor. We bought a whole lot of furniture because we've had the ability to. We're doing home renovations upstairs, as I mentioned earlier. It's just been, that's just been my focus. So instead of me, today's a Monday. I have off on Mondays. Instead of me spending all day on Monday knitting, I'm running errands. I'm, prepping a room for something. I'm painting a room. I'm staining furniture. That's just where I am right now. I've thought about filming it, but I just haven't. I always think about it, and then it's oh, I'm halfway into a project. I probably should have filmed that, but it just never ends up happening. So I'm giving you all this backstory and, a look into my life. There's other life things that have happened, but I won't bore you with all that. But I wanted to start this small knitting vlog. I never did the introduction, by the way. I just went straight into it. This is episode 27 of the Cozy Moth Knits podcast. We are 14 minutes in and there's no knitting yet, but I'm getting there, I promise. I wanted to give you all that backstory, to give you a little bit of, update of where I've been in life right now, because I feel like I have drifted away from the knitting community, not on purpose. It's just been the progression of things. And I actually had a breakdown a little bit last night because I haven't been able to knit and haven't, been able to, I'm just going to be honest, financially contribute to some of my, my friends who dye yarn, or my friends who make, stitch markers and stuff like that. I haven't been able to, self-support them in that way. I kind of have not been keeping up to date with, some of my friends' knitting vlogs or Knitstagram, because I feel guilty. I feel guilty that I'm not pursuing my craft. I'm guilty that I have a whole knitting room full of yarn that I haven't, caked up or worked on just yet. I go on Ravelry every once in a while and I see the trends and I favorite them and I'm like I don't have the yarn for that. Like I can't knit that sweater. I only have one sweater's quantity worth of yarn and I don't even know if it's really enough for a sweater that I want to make. And, because I'm trying not to buy yarn right now. I'm trying to get through everything that I have as, kind of what I said last episode. But so every once in a while I'll switch over to Instagram. I see you, I see what you're doing, and I'm proud of you. You guys are doing fantastic. But I haven't avoided you because I don't want to, and not because I've, moved on. I don't want to move on. And what really got me, as I said earlier, kind of had a breakdown was last night. I was sitting up in bed watching 90 Day Fiancé with Phil, and during the commercial break, and I had been knitting all day. I had been planning out these projects. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get back into it. I haven't, had any knitting content to share in a while. I want to get back into it. Things at work are dying down. I'm trying to get back into the flow of things. It's been, 10 months and I'm just barely getting my footing in 2022. What year are we in? In 2022. It's just been, life has been so chaotic. I can barely keep up. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get back into it, start knitting. It's going to be cold again. Perfect time to start knitting. Wonderful. So during the commercial break of 90 Day Fiancé, I decided for some reason to, I always open up Instagram on my personal Instagram, but then for some reason I decided to switch over to my knitting Instagram. I guess because I've been thinking about knitting all day. And I had a notification. One of my friends, who I've talked about many times on this channel, my friend Judy of the Autumn Acorn, had posted on one of my more recent posts, which are basically just video announcements at this point. She had commented hey friend, I hope you're doing well. And I started crying. And I'm going to cry now. Because, I started crying because I felt like I had let the community down. And I know when I say the community, I'm just such a small part of the knitting community. But I felt like that I've ignored them, and that has not been my intention. And I think about, some of my friends like Judy and Tracy and Kelsey and Amanda and Sierra and all you lovely ladies, and Valerie and everyone. All you guys who got me through the pandemic, who got me through a horrible time in this world's history. Not only was I able to cope because of you guys, because of this community, but I was able to make some wonderful friends. I've only met one of you in person, but that was a fantastic time to get to meet Kelsey of Night in Akabi, and to send memes back and forth with Valerie, and to talk to Tracy and Judy and Amanda and Sierra, and just to have those online friendships. And so yeah, I feel bad for not keeping up with you guys. I am watching from afar and I'm cheering you on, and you guys are on my mind often, and I'm sorry that I haven't been vocal about the fact that you all are on my mind and on my heart. But all you ladies who I mentioned, and countless others who I didn't mention, and all my viewers, you all are still on my heart, and I think about you all often, and I'm sorry that I've been so absent, but my intention is to be more of a presence. It might not be as often as it used to be, bi-weekly or whatever it was, bi-monthly. I don't know, bi-weekly, bi-monthly. I never know the difference. Oh, sorry. But I'm still here. And I just need to get past the guilt. And yeah. So yeah, those are my things I have to say before I talk about things that I've been knitting on, and my little projects that I have planned coming up for the next couple months. I just wanted to get that out there, and I think this is the second time I've ever cried on YouTube, but it is what it is. Okay, anyway, let's get on to the stuff. What am I drinking today? Woohoo! I'm drinking a cup of tea, just some decaf Earl Grey tea. I haven't had tea or hot tea practically all summer, so I'm getting back into it. All right, so no more tears. Let's move on. So there are two things that I finished between July and now October. Both were gifts that I gave away. Unfortunately, before I could show you guys. No, fortunately that I gave away, but unfortunately I couldn't show you. But I do have pictures of one of them. So the first thing was a Harry Potter scarf. If you've been here for a while, you know that I've knit many a Harry Potter scarf. The Harry Potter scarves are kind of what got me back into knitting right before the pandemic. Like in 2019, I had knit everyone in my family, in my immediate family, my parents and my siblings, Harry Potter scarves that linked up, or that that matched their Hogwarts house. At the time, at least. I know at least one of them has changed as they've gotten older. But I knit them all. They were all very inexpensive, acrylic yarn. In hindsight, I wish I would have knit them with wool, but I was still, getting back into the swing of knitting. Again, right before the pandemic, so I had a little bit of a head start. But yeah, I had knit them all Harry Potter scarves. And I have knit my sister's friend a Harry Potter scarf. I feel like the Harry Potter scarves pop up in my life every once in a while. But during the spring, my aunt who I am very close with, she had asked me to make her, a young man in her life, a child, a young man in her life, a Harry Potter scarf, because he is reading the Harry Potter books. I think she said he's 8 years old. I'm so sorry for forgetting. I'm horrible with remembering things like that. But he's young enough to be reading the Harry Potter books himself. After he reads the books, he watches the movies, and with Halloween coming up, at least in the spring, he was planning on being Ron Weasley for Halloween because he's a little redhead, and he looks just like a Ron Weasley. It's very, very sweet. So I was like, well, I'll knit him a Hogwarts house Harry Potter scarf, and it's like the same. It's It's not the same as my other Harry Potter scarves because it's just like blocks of um, red and or red and goldenrod. Not like my other ones which were apparently there's a difference. If there's the blocks, like just the square blocks, so it's for the younger wizards. But as I get older, they change from the blocks to like blocks and then like stripes. Like you all know, you've seen them. Like maybe I'll post a picture to show the difference. But yeah, their scarves changed as they get older. So because this young man is young, I decided to make just the blocks. And it took me a couple weeks to make. It went by very quickly. I'm very familiar with this pattern. And yeah, it was just a standard Harry Potter scarf. However, in the middle of me knitting this scarf, I was like, okay, yeah, scarf's great. I'm like, but what will elevate this costume? Like, okay, like, all right, dude, like you're Ron Weasley, very obvious. But what will elevate it? I'm like, well, Ron Weasley, at least in the first 3 books, 2.5 maybe, has a pet rat, and the rat's name is Scabbers. And while I was sitting there knitting this scarf, I was like, I wonder if Ravelry has a pattern for a rat, like a rat toy. And lo and behold, they had a pattern for a rat, and I got so excited. I said, I'm knitting this rat. Like I'm gonna do it. I don't care if it's weird. I'm gonna knit him this rat. So while I was at work on a Saturday, because I'm the only staff person who works on Saturdays at the library. Saturdays are very slow, so that's where I get most of my knitting done during the week. Is Saturday at work and Sundays after church. That's where I get most of my knitting done. But all day Saturday, I was knitting my rat, and so many people were like, "Oh, what are you making?" Because it's the DPNs and it's a weird shape, and I'm like, "Well, it's a rat," and they're like, "Why?" There's a gentleman who comes into the library often, and every Saturday he stops by and checks up on me. He's like, "What are you making?" Like, I want to hear the story. Tell me what you're making. So I told him, like, all right, like it's gonna be like, hold your horses, hold on to your hat. Like it's a rat, and he it's like, what? Like, why? Please tell me why you're making the rat. So I explained the story. So I knit the rat in a weekend. And I had it done by Sunday afternoon, and it was so beautiful. I am so proud of this rat. The rat, I have some pictures of it right here, and then a picture of my aunt's cat looking at the rat. So yeah, I had knit a little scabbers for him. I still have, if you remember the pajama cardigan I knit over a year and a half ago with the Rosa Pumar Mungo yarn. I still had yarn left over from that project, so I decided to make the rat with the Rosa Pumar Mungo, which is like the perfect color, and then held it double with like a brown mohair that I had, so it made it a little fuzzy. And I made the eyes red, and I was just so proud of it. I was so happy. It was so much fun to make. I could definitely make it again. If anyone wants me to make them a rat, I'll knit it for them. I know it's really silly, but I was really happy with it. And I showed it to my aunt, and she thought it was so funny. And of course, her cat loved it. They put it on the ground, and the cat went straight for the neck. Like, it was funny. In the picture with the rat and the cat and the rat, there's also a little mouse that I had knit for that same cat about a year ago for Christmas, and it's still holding on strong. So I'm glad that it's a favorite over there. So anyway, so those are my finished objects that I don't have to show you, unfortunately. I don't have to show you, not have. Sorry, I do not have. Anyway, so, and I'm still working on the Ding Dang half and half triangles wrap. I am literally so close. I'm so close to it being done. My goal, like, this is how much there is left. It's so close. There's like 60 rows left on it, but it's just so long. It's so long. Because of course I had to make the extra large version because I'm extra. But I'm still loving the colors. I still love working with the yarn. I think it's beautiful. Now that it's fall, it's peak shawl season. So hopefully it'll be done by the end of this week. That is my goal. I've been saying that forever, but this poor thing, my poor friend, this was supposed to be a gift for her back in May. It is now October. I'm a bad friend, guys. I'm really bad. But yeah, that's my work in progress. But I figured I would talk to you a little bit about some projects that I have planned over the next few months. Actually, over the entire hockey season, hence why I'm wearing my Seattle Kraken sweater that's supposed to look vintage even though the team is literally 2 years old. And this is definitely a knockoff. That isn't even their logo anymore. So anyway, but I actually got the idea from Emily of she's not 108 Stitches anymore. She's Gently Chaotic Knits, I think. She's a wonderful content creator and knitter and pattern writer. But I got the idea from her because when she used to work for the Seattle Mariners, also Seattle, she would have these socks and each stripe, and like it'd be striped socks, and she would keep track of all the games that were won and lost by the Mariners. I think it was the Mariners, and then there was also another team. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was her team that she always followed since she was younger. I know she's from Oklahoma. I don't know baseball. Like, I can't keep up with baseball. But her idea, she would work on these socks throughout the baseball season, and she would have, I think it was like a yellow stripe if they won and a red stripe if they lost. And then by the end of the baseball season, she would have a pair of socks. So of course she would knit 2 at a time. I'm taking that idea and running with it. So I have, sorry, May's, looking out the windows, staring at people. And kids are coming off the bus from school. So yeah, it's about that time. So I have an idea for 2 projects to work on during the hockey season. The first one is a cowl, and my cowl is going to follow the Kraken throughout the season. And the cowl pattern that I picked is called the Kled cowl, Kled. But it's a really cute little cowl, and I'll post pictures as I'm, reading this off. And it's in half fisherman's rib, and because a lot of cowls can either be really like slouchy or they could be like too close to you, but this one seems to be like close to your neck, but this one seems to be like a good middle ground. I'm gonna keep track of each Kraken game, and I'm gonna alternate stripes depending on if the Kraken win or lose. So I'm going to, I think, like I have so many extra yarn. I ended up buying 2 skeins of Knit Picks Swish DK because I literally didn't have the color. I didn't have this color. Because I'm trying to, go off of Seattle Kraken colors. I have a lot of blue, but I don't have this like mint aqua green kind of color. For the ribbing of the cowl, I'm going to use this Swish DK, this Knit Pick Swish DK in the color Arctic, which is just a light blue, and this was yarn that Phil got me for my birthday 2 years ago. There's going to be that. And then I'm going to add an extra round in this red, because if you see the Seattle Kraken logo, you can't really see it here, but like right there, it's red. Yeah, this is just fading away. So you get a little bit of red in it. And there's, red accents throughout their uniform, their sweater, their jersey, whatever you want to call it. And I think if they lose, I'm going to put it in this dark blue color. And if they lose a game, it's going to be this dark blue. And if they win a game, it's going to be the mint green, which isn't here yet. I literally just ordered it a couple hours ago. So that is my plan for that cowl. The plan, if everything goes according to plan, Phil and I want to go back to the Pacific Northwest around this time this year, or next year in 2023. And we want to attend a Kraken game. You can see them play at Climate Pledge Arena. That's something I want to do. Like when we had gone to Denver, Phil got to see his football team play, so I want to see my hockey team play while we're out in Seattle. So my goal is to have this cowl done, and then when we go see them play, I get to wear my cowl. So that's my intentions for that. I'll probably get started on it maybe today, maybe tomorrow. It's October 3rd right now, and the season starts October 7th, like the actual season. Right now, preseason, as of October 3rd, at 2:30 or at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. The Kraken have been doing really well in the preseason, but of course it doesn't mean anything because it's preseason. Last year, we were one of the worst teams in the league. Maybe we have a chance this year. Who knows? But in the same light, let me put this away. And all that yarn, and I put it in my little ghost bag. Yes, I get a lot of compliments on this bag. It's one of my favorites. And all that yarn is like yarn that's been in my stash forever. And I think that blue is technically a fingering weight, but it's like a heavy fingering. And it's about the same size as the DK that I have. So, yeah. So it should be good. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So in the same light of hockey, I have a second project that I'm going to be working on. So we have a couple in our church who just recently started attending. And they asked Phil and I if we wanted to join their fantasy hockey league. And I had never done any sort of fantasy anything. Like, not with, like, a group of people. Like, Phil and I, like, kind of did fantasy hockey in 2021. No, in 2020. When I wanted to get into hockey. When I'd heard about this new team, the Kraken, and I was like, I need to know about hockey, because like I've always loved going to Flyers games because I live in Delaware, close to Philadelphia, we're like 45 minutes away from Philadelphia. And I love going to hockey games. I just don't know much about them. I want to learn about them. So like Phil and I had done a fantasy thing where we kept track of players, but it was only the two of us. And I ended up winning our little fantasy hockey thing. Anyway, so we drafted our players last Thursday, and I am ready and I'm excited. And I think I'm going to keep track of my winnings week to week with a pair of socks. So I gather my colors. Again, these are all colors that have been in my stash for a long time. Oh my god. I've lost the needle. Okay. Okay, do I have them all? All right. So these are all. Ugh. So I have my colors picked. I have this like bluish gray. That's going to be the heel, cuff, and toe of the sock. Then I have this green. And I think this is Ritual Dyes. I think this was Pisces. Like their original Pisces colorway. Sorry. Their original Pisces colorway. That's been sitting in my stash for a while. So yes, I have this one to keep track of my losses. because I'm sure I'm not going to do very well. And then I have this Knit Picks fingering weight yarn in the colorway Harvest, which is going to keep track of my winnings week to week. So here are all the colors together, and I really like how they turn out. Like, there is a little bit of that slate blue in here, and definitely some like orange in this. So I'm excited for this. I don't know how it's going to turn out. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to keep track of it week to week. I guess I have to. Anyway, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, this is going to keep track of my my week-to-week winnings in fantasy hockey. And I chose, this one to be the primary color, because the green, because I know I'm probably going to lose often, and then the orange will be like a nice little pop in between if I happen to win any week. So there's that. So that's my little, and this is another little bag that I got. I got this a while ago. I don't remember Beautiful Sisters. It's just a little bento bag sort of thing. So that's another project that I have in mind. I'll probably start on the cuffs, because I'm doing 2 at a time. Probably start on the cuffs tonight or tomorrow. And then my last project that I have in mind is just a smaller project that I've been meaning to work on. I just need to work on something smaller, other than the big ol' half and half triangles wrap. So I decided to knit the Stillwater socks by Summer Lee Knits. And so I decided to knit them, first of all, in this color, which I believe this is a knit in a copy. It is. I can feel it. Like, this is a knitting a copy. This is the colorway that was in her Labyrinth. What's it called? Her Labyrinth advent calendar last year. And the colorway is, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I didn't save the thing. But it'll be right here. Not like you can get it right now, I don't think. At least not right now you can. But yeah, this is a Knitting Nakabi mauve color. It's going to be the primary color. And then the secondary color will be a Knit Picks fingering forest green. Figure they'd be cool colors together. Yeah. So that's my plan for a pair of socks. A project that I can take with me on the go, stuff it in my bag, pull it out at lunchtime at work, and knit on them. The Stillwater socks, like they're not, they have, it's just like, it's not just like vanilla socks. So like it keeps me engaged. There's a little bit of cables, but not too much. There's some texture on the front of the foot. I'm going to post a picture right here, but I love the colors that she picked for her example photos. They're beautiful. I'm obsessed with them. I want them. So yeah, those are my plans for right now for knitting. We'll see if I hold to them, because I do have a habit of saying like, this is what I'm going to do, and then never do it. Like my Make 9. Like, I've only finished 1 or 2 things on my Make 9. I haven't had any time to knit any sweaters. But I also I'm also on a huge yarn diet. Because thank you, inflation, I can't buy a yarn that isn't Knit Picks or Michael's yarn or Joann's or whatever. So, I mean, that's not, okay, I say thanks, inflation, and I'm not saying that towards the makers and the indie dyers. I'm talking about everything else is so expensive, so I don't have extra money to spend on yarn. So, like, that's literally what I mean. Like, No shade to the indie dyers and the creatives in this community. Anyway, so that's where I am right now. So I thought this was going to be a 20-minute video, and we are now at 48 minutes. I'll probably end up cutting it down. We talked about a lot today. I gave you an update of my life. We cried. We looked at knitting stuff. I talked about rats for way too long. So yeah, that's where we are. Hopefully I'll have more knitting content for you in the future. So I'm just going to leave this here. If you would like, even after watching me cry and talk about things that I haven't started making yet, if you want to subscribe to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I also do other random, every once in a while I'll do a daily vlog or a travel vlog. I also do monthly or bi-monthly, I mean, it's going to end up being bi-monthly probably after I post this one. Reading vlogs, talk about what I've been reading. I want to just film like more stuff in general. I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet, but we'll see. So if you want to stick around, hit that, like I said, hit that subscribe button. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also, what am I on? I'm on Instagram at the Cozy Moth Knits. Go ahead and give me a follow there. Sorry, keep looking over. I'm on Ravelry at Cozy Moth Knits, though I don't use it as a social media. I just use it to buy patterns. I don't update it or anything. I'm not, all the props to everyone who like keeps track of all their projects and everything on Ravelry. That could never be me. I can't. Like, it's too much. Like, I keep track of my projects in my planner, and that's about it. Even then, I've fallen off with that. Anyway, so I guess I'll just leave this here. So until next time, stay safe, everyone. Keep knitting, and I will see you all later.